that rage, it's got to come out some way, somehow. And that, it took going inside. It took me uncovering, like, why am I so angry? Because really, I've got a great life. Like, I'm sober a long time. I can eat whatever I want. I can walk. I have my feet, my hands, my eyes, right? Like, I have a really good life. And so being able to go into mindfulness and learn how my mind, my brain was operating was so helpful. And being able to rethink, rearrange my actions, change the brain thoughts, that were constantly engaging. It's been a game changer because I'm not reactive, right? I have a lot of space before I react, before that rage light goes on. And it's just another gift of sober life.
Welcome to 250 and Beyond. I'm your host, Lori Massicott. I quit drinking in 2013 at 45, and since then, I've given myself another chance to explore every inch of life clear, present, and fully engaged, no alcohol required. I'm a certified life and recovery coach, and it is my mission to bring you insightful, empowering, and fun weekly episodes with incredible guests and myself to help you create more joy in aging and more confidence and freedom living an alcohol-free lifestyle. You get one life and you get to choose how you live it. It's time to tap into all of your potential and rock your very best self, 250 and beyond. I know you're ready. Let's go. Hey there, I'm so happy that you're here. If you're new here, hello, welcome, my new friend. If you're returning, welcome back, my friend. I'm giving you a big virtual hug. Super grateful to you for listening to this podcast. One podcast out of millions? I don't even know how many podcasts there are anymore, but you found your way here. And I'm going to guess that you're interested in practicing mindfulness to change your life. Yeah, that was a good guess, right? Are you ready, though, honestly, to stop spinning out into worry and fear and those ruminating thoughts of what could go wrong and start feeling better, more calm, more peace, and centering on actually what could go right, because there's so many things, right? But being more in the moment. A mindfulness practice can help you unwind without alcohol, calm you down, bring you peace, and get you centered on focusing on the reality of each moment, which is where we all should be. My guest today, the smart and beautiful Lane Kennedy, is here to help you start a mindfulness practice, have fun without alcohol, unwind without alcohol, shut off those ruminating thoughts, and find peace and calmness in our ever-changing world. So it's one thing to practice mindfulness and another thing to use it when life happens. And we know life is happening every single day. Lane is a woman in recovery who began a successful modeling career in her early years, found sobriety young, and after college built companies, gave birth to her son, and began a quest to help others find meaningful change through meditation, mindfulness, and DNA research and coaching. Lane is the founder and creator of the Connected Calm Life course and host of the podcast by the same name. She is an author, a hormone cure practitioner, a DNA coach, and a certified mindfulness-based stress reduction teacher. Lane is a graduate of the Neuroscience Academy and has completed a 200-hour yoga teacher training program and is twice certified Yoga Nidra guide, a Revelation breathwork facilitator, and a peer certified recovery coach. So many things is just happening in this woman's life. I'm so inspired by her. I'm so grateful to her for being here. We had so much fun recording this episode, and so many great things are coming your way because you're going to get super pumped up to create a mindfulness practice. I know you're ready, so sit back, relax, and enjoy Lane. Hi, Lane.
Hi, Lori.
Welcome to 250 and Beyond. Thank you for being here.
Of course.
Two Californians coming together at 9 a.m.
Yeah, right. Bright and early.
Bright and early. Yeah, we're going to talk about mindfulness today and recovery, and I'm super excited to get this conversation started. The first question I ask all of my guests is, what is your age and how do you feel about aging? You can answer that any way you choose.
I love getting older. I don't want to, aging, I don't really like that word, but I love getting older or becoming more mature. I like the word mature.
Yeah.
I am, how old am I? I don't know my age because if I say my age, then that's the age I become. So I don't believe in saying my age, but I am perfect with you. I'm in this zone. My son doesn't know how old I am, so I just keep it that way.
I love it so much. You know what? It's funny. Because I never tell anybody I'm going to ask that question unless they listen to the podcast. They don't know. I've been asking it since 2018. And I do love, everything that we do, our language matters, right? So just putting that tweak on aging versus being, older and more mature, like a midlife versus a mature woman, or I like to say a grown ass woman, right?
I am a grown ass woman.
Yeah, I'm a grown ass woman.
I am almost like 25 years sober. So yeah, I'm a grown ass woman.
Yes, you can own that. Definitely. But I never tell anybody because I always want that response. I want that genuine response. So thank you. It's very rare that I get that. So thank you so much. I love that your son doesn't know your age.
Yeah. Well, about when I was so maybe 10, 15 years ago, I went to a doctor and he checked all my blood and he's like, wow, you're 10 years younger than you are. And I was like, yes, that's what I'm talking about. And he's like, what do you do? And I think younger. Yeah. Like, that's it. I mean, my lifestyle I'm pretty organic and green and all that. And I take care of myself, but my thinking is my age. And he was like, just keep doing that. Just keep doing that.
I love that. I think that's going to really change a lot of women's minds out there, and mine included, because it is maybe getting to that point, even in this podcast, where I stop asking that question. I've thought about that before, but I do like the responses. I love the responses that I get. And I think that we all come together to find this, commonality in this community and bond with getting older because, we're a unique bunch. That's what I will say. So that's amazing. So 25 years in recovery. Mm-hmm. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And you had a modeling career. How did that get started?
I did. I was young and it was by pure accident. Honestly, I wasn't looking for it. I didn't think, oh, that's the path I'm going to go down. I answered an ad in the back of the newspaper. Right. That's what we used to do. We used to look in the ads in the newspaper, and I ended up working with a designer and becoming a part of a design team. And that kind of launched my career. I was with him for 2 years, and that just opened the fashion world to me and kicked off a 20-year career.
Wow. That is incredible. Yeah. An ad in the back of the newspaper. I remember those.
I mean, it was literally like 3 lines. And at that time, you didn't know if you were going into like something kind of shady or something like what I landed in. And it was pure, divine, timing on that.
Was it print or runway? What type of modeling?
All of it.
All of it. Did you enjoy it then?
I did. I mean, I love fashion. Growing up, I love going into my mother's closet and putting on her shoes, and I would carry around a little camera and do my hair. And I always love fashion. I mean, you look at me now and you're like, that doesn't reveal that now. Like I'm in jeans and t-shirts and sweatshirts all the time. But back then I love fashion. It gave me an anchor for my life, and it gave me something to be a part of. And it gave me a reason to drink and be in the scene.
Yeah. So how did that get started? Did the modeling come first or the drinking?
No, the drinking came first.
Okay.
Yeah. I started drinking in my teens, and I started modeling when I was, 20, I think. Yeah. I wasn't legally drinking for either of them.
Yeah. I wasn't legally drinking either for about 7 years.
Very messy.
Yeah. So talk about your recovery. What led you there? Can you tell us a little bit about that story?
I lived in Los Angeles at the time, and modeling. I had a huge house up in the Laurel Canyon. I had closets and shoes and a wardrobe to die for. I had a classic car. I had a new car. Like I had all the stuff. And I was in the IT crew, the circle, like I had dinners with celebrities and spent holidays and Thanksgiving with them at the table. And we said grateful and we handed out sleeping bags down on Skid Row. Like I was in that crew of people. And that was in the early or mid 90s. Mm-hmm. So, it was quite a time. The 90s were quite a time, I have to say. I'm really glad that I got sober in the 90s, but I lived this very fast-paced life. And at the time, I was involved, dating, like very engaged with somebody, and not engaged like with a ring on, but very, connected to my partner. And we went to her house for the holidays. And we had to take a train. And it was the worst trip of my life. Because I don't know if you've ever been on a train and going across the states, but we got the deluxe. And I thought, oh my God, the deluxe version, right? I'm like, oh my God, I can't, I'm so excited. The deluxe was like a bunk bed, it was like this little tiny car. And, you hear this constantly. There's no break for that. It's 5 days across the country. And then you only have, from your car to the dining car to go, back and forth. And then there's smoking, right? Like back then people were smoking. So it was really brutal trip across the country. And she got sick and she was my drinking mate. She was everything. She stopped drinking because she was on antibiotics. We landed at her parents' house and her parents was like, you're not in good shape. Maybe you should just let's take care of you. And we ended up going to a New Year's Eve party in Boston. And she didn't drink that night. And I thought, oh, she's definitely going to drink tonight. She always drinks. Doesn't matter. And they handed me a glass of white wine, which I can't stand. Can't stand white wine. I've never been a white wine drinker. And I remember cheering, yay, it's like New Year's time. And I took a sip and I just put it down. And that was the last drink that I had. The next day we were going to a party with her parents. And the party happened to be a 12-step room. And I walked in and they were so happy to see me, Lori. It was so crazy. They were so happy. And they were like, oh my God, we have a seat in the front row for you. And here's a cup of coffee. And I thought, oh my God, I've arrived. These people know who I am. I love this place. Love it. Little did I know that they were doing exactly what they needed to do to help, shepherd in someone who was new to this process. But that, I haven't had to pick up or use anything since that day, which was December 31st of 1996. And I've had continuous sobriety, and I am so grateful for that. I didn't know that relapse was an option. I didn't know that that was something that people did. I just didn't know that. And that was the beginning of my life.
Mm-hmm. I'm so proud of you. So happy for you.
Thanks.
It's amazing. And so it just sounds like, yeah, you took it off the table, not even knowing anything about, oh, okay, maybe I could go back.
No. And my partner at the time, she was really sick. I mean, she had the DTs. I mean, it was really bad. So she had to stay back with her parents in Massachusetts, and I flew back. So I didn't have to take that train back, thank God. And then I was up in the hills, totally freaking out, like by myself. And I didn't have a drink in my hand. I didn't have a drink in my house. I didn't have, and I didn't know what to do. And I called her mom, and her mom said, you need to go to a meeting. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, I still didn't get that I was enrolling in this process of becoming sober. And I said, I don't even know where those are. She ended up calling and finding out that there was literally a meeting place, like right down the hill from me. Like I could have thrown a rock at it, at a country store in the canyon. And I walked in and there were, rock stars and people that I just was like, these are my people. They dress like me. They look like me. They talk like me. And I found my home.
Oh, that is so cool.
Yeah, it was pretty. I feel so lucky. And I thank the stars every day.
Mm-hmm. In conversations, once you got sober, did you learn about relapse?
I didn't learn about I didn't put it together until I was about 3 months sober, maybe. Because one of the girls that I was, counting days with at the time, she drank again. And I was like, what do you mean? What happened? But I got in with a crew of people who, got into the principles, and really there was a lot of structure around my recovery. So I was able to learn quickly what relapse meant, and that it wasn't about a shame or blame. It was about supporting and helping and making sure that everyone felt welcome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is what it's about. Oh, that's a beautiful story. I'm curious, when you put that white wine down, right?
Oh, yeah.
Was there like this commitment that you made to yourself? Like, I'm never going to drink again or anything like that?
Lori, I didn't even know. It was so
know.
Gross. I mean, it was white wine. I like crisp or dry white wine. I was so not interested in it. And I thought for sure tomorrow's New Year's Eve, we're going to go out and have a great time. Right. So I wasn't really, no big deal. 30 days prior, or like Thanksgiving, was my last debauch. That was, the Jack Daniels and the passing out and the blackout and beating somebody up. And that was like the whole deal. So I thought, tomorrow night we'll go out and we'll have a great time. So that glass of wine, didn't even know.
That's so cool. Maybe we just hear these stories, that's, use this, if you're listening to this, use this as some hopeful inspiration, definitely. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't have to be this big, huge thing, No. It could just be that, just putting it down. Thank you so much for sharing that. What did you do in the beginning to have fun without alcohol?
Yeah. So I really got into a crew of people where we went to movies. We went to breakfast. We hung out. We did everything together. It was get in the car. We're going. Well, I need to get all my lipstick and my shoes. No, just get in the car. We're going. And so I followed around. Like I was literally with a crew of people, and I would go early in the morning. We'd have breakfast, then we'd go to a movie, then we'd go to lunchtime, then we'd go have it was just constant. And it was very social. Los Angeles is very, very social.
Yeah, that's amazing. And how long did you have that crew, or do you still have that crew?
So I moved away at 9/11, when 9/11 hit.
Okay.
Yeah, 9/11 hit everybody's life profoundly. It hit my life profoundly. That's when I moved away. I mean, I traveled, and I woke up to this, oh my God, the world has changed. And what are we doing? Like, what am I doing with my life? Mm-hmm. So I literally told all my clients, I'm out. And I booked a one-way ticket over to Southeast Asia, and I lived over there and, studied, lived in a Watt. I did not want to be in the States. I wanted to be out of it, and I wanted to be on a spiritual journey. And so that's what I did. I was on a quest.
You were on a quest. How long were you there?
I was over there for a year, and it was a magical time. Time.
I bet. It sounds like it. What about last year during the pandemic? And I know we're still going through it, but how did you feel?
It was a nightmare. I have an 11-year-old. So it took me to my knees in a whole new way. Throughout my sobriety and my recovery, I've had these different, we talk about the different bottoms. We come in on a bottom, but then there's different bottoms as we stay sober because we hit different emotional places, and people don't talk about this. And I find it detrimental to people who have less time than me to not know that there are going to be hard times ahead. And how do we deal with that? And this pandemic has been one of those hard times for me, where everything has been stripped away from me. And I luckily about maybe it's like 7 years now, I really had to dig into a spiritual practice. And that's when my meditation and my mindfulness practice kind of came online, because I had to deepen it. I had to really connect with something greater. And that's what this pandemic has asked me to do. It's asked me to dig into my spiritual path and get reconnected with ideas around kindness and around acceptance that I didn't have before, that I just didn't even think about.
So you took it to another level.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was watching the video on your website, your introduction video, and you were talking about, I think it was an instance that had to do with driving or something, or, feeling like, you kind of had this, another reaction besides calmness. Let's say that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's called rage.
It's called rage. Yeah. How did you get beyond that? And what were the moments that led you to really your mindfulness practice? And then I want to talk to you about what you do as a mindfulness-based stress reduction coach.
Mm-hmm. I was really angry. I was really angry at the world. And I was really angry the situation that I had put myself in. I didn't realize that rage was a part of recovery and that I had to deal with it. Like, I just always pushed it down. Like, I'm okay. I got this. I've got this. I can handle this. I can control this. Yeah, I'm good at this. And I think as I'm a mother, right? Raising a kid who's a little bit different. There's a lot of trying to figure things out. And I got this. I can control it. But in reality, there's no controlling a kid. There's no, the more control, the more manage that I was trying, the worse it was becoming. And I mean, it was so bad where I thought for sure, my husband was going to leave me. I thought for sure I was going to end up alone. And that rage, it's got to come out some way, somehow. And that, it took going inside. It took me uncovering why am I so angry? Because really I've got a great life. I'm sober a long time. I can eat whatever I want. I can walk. I have my feet, my hands, my eyes, right? I have a really good life. And so being able to go into mindfulness and learn how my brain was operating was so helpful. And being able to rethink, rearrange my actions, change the brain thoughts, that we're constantly engaging. It's been a game changer because I'm not reactive, right? I have a lot of space before I react, before that rage light goes on. And it's just another gift of sober life.
Definitely. Did you finally really uncover what it was that you were angry about? Was it anything? And you don't have to share it. I'm wondering.
Yeah. A series of things, just a series of things that I ignored a lot of times. There's no time to process. So I was able to just look at that and evaluate it. And, I believe that there is this power that takes care of me. And that power is greater, so much greater than me, and gives me what I need when I need it. And some of those things that I need bring me greater awareness to help others. So I believe that everything that I've gone through can help someone else on their path. And without that deep, profound experience, I can't help others in that way.
And I'm sure that's what led you to your work.
Yes.
So when you do your mindfulness practice, is it something that has just come very natural to you, or do you still have to remind yourself, like, don't be reactive? Do you still get to that point?
No, it's a practice.
Yeah.
It is an absolute practice. And it's what I tell my clients. It's like, this is a practice and it's a lifelong thing, and it's not going to go away. It's not going to change overnight. A lot of times I'll be working with a woman and she'll be like, okay, I'm ready to change like yesterday. Like, that's not how it's not going to work. Like, we're going to be at this for the next 40 years. Like,
yeah. Yeah. And that's just such a mindset shift when you realize, especially in recovery too, and early sobriety, it's like, when is this going to get easier? When is this going to get better? When am I going to stop thinking about it so much? And it's that work that we talk about, doing the work and showing up for yourself and practicing. It's lifelong. Like you can't joke around about that. You can't kid yourself into thinking this is going to be quick.
It's not quick. We're humans. And this is an experience, right? And sometimes our lives are 40 years, sometimes they're 90. I'm going for 103. So I've got a lot of experience to go through here still. And I might as well like be open to it instead of like grinding my teeth and keeping myself up at night.
Yeah. Is that what you were doing before?
Oh my God.
Can you talk about ruminating thoughts in the middle of the night, Lane? Were you experiencing that?
Yeah, that's the worst. That's the worst when you wake up at 2:00 in the morning and you're like sweaty and hot and you're like, what is going on? Why am I awake? I hate everything. That's the worst time. And I had to train myself, how to turn that off. And everybody has this. And it may not happen at like 2:00 in the morning, but maybe it happens at 6:00 when dinner comes. Or maybe it happens in traffic. Well, now we don't have traffic in the morning, but like everybody has these ruminating thoughts, especially with the pandemic, right? Like the world changed. So now are we safe? Are we not safe? Do we need to do this or not? Do we have people over or not? Right. And this is going to happen for a while. This is not going to go away. Mm-hmm. So how do we live in a world that's changed and be at a state of homeostasis, so our body can be calm and restoring itself instead of degenerating and aging. There's the word.
Yeah, aging. I see how you use that there. I get it. Exactly. So in this world that we live in, how can we calm ourselves?
Yeah. I talk a lot about going outside. The more green you can see, the better your heart will be, the better your brain is going to be. Feeling the air on your skin, because people just don't even pay attention to that, right? Like, who pays attention to the air on their skin? Nobody.
That's what mindfulness is.
But a mindful practice, right? And when you're trying not to have ruminating thoughts or inner rage or self-doubt, it's a matter of getting outside, sitting in the sun, sitting in the rain, feeling the elements and breathing through that moment and feeling the air go through your nose, right? These are like, you take every moment and you break it down so small. That changes the way that thought pattern is. Mm-hmm. And that's like everything, right? Like you have to start somewhere. So I always just have people start with getting outside, get into the elements, move your body, walk, feel the air, and then they start to change.
And when those thoughts come up that kind of take you out of the moment and out of what you're actually doing, the action, which is just walking in nature, we should be looking up and around and, not going into our head so much. How do we pull ourselves back to that? Because it happens. We're human, right? Yeah. I mean, it's natural for our thoughts to veer off all the time. What are your best tips for us to kind of get back to that? Is there a mantra or something that we can yell or whisper?
I think coming back into the moment is, you could always use a mantra. You could always, but I think the breath is the key. That it's the easiest thing. And it is the one tool that will change your entire being in less than 3 seconds. So, you have the ruminating thought, oh, you're being mindful, and then take a large inhale and just fill the lungs and feel the lungs and notice them. And if you can't do that, then set an alarm on your phone to be mindful, right? So you can go out throughout the day, you can have these little alarms that like take a mindful moment, and then you can, do a guided mindful moment message, right? There's lots of people that lead and guide, Insight Timer, Calm. There's a bunch of apps out there now that you can get to really own a practice. Because once you start to own it and feel it, you want to live that way.
And you have that on your podcast.
Yes.
You want to talk about that for a minute? Because that's a great tool. And thank you for those tips.
Yeah, of course. So on Mondays, I have a little mindful chat. On Wednesdays, I have affirmations. And then on Fridays, I have a co-host. So I do 3 different types of episodes to get, a variety of mindfulness and wellness into a woman's life. But the Monday and Wednesday are short episodes to support the stress, the chaos, the ruminating thoughts, the perfectionism. Those 2 days are key to listen into.
I love that you do that. I've often thought about doing something like that. And the name of your podcast?
The Connected Calm Life.
I love that. I love that. Says it all right there, friends. I know we were talking about ruminating thoughts. And one of the things that I talked to you about before we started recording was, the getting out of the habit to unwind with alcohol. And I feel like, we're having those moments throughout the day where we're thinking, oh my gosh, I can't wait for the end of this day till I get home and I can pour my drink and take that first sip, then finally exhale, right? Mm-hmm. So that unwinding is really important for women. And it's one of the hardest things for women to get through when they first quit drinking. Can you talk a little bit about that and like how we can shift our mindset during that time? Is there anything in particular that they can do?
I think unwinding is so important for us, and we don't give it to ourselves. So one of the questions that I often ask is, what are you getting out of that glass of wine? Like, what is that? And a lot of times they'll say, I just want that relief. Like, I want that relief, Lane. And if it's relief, then how else can you get that same relief? Let's go underneath that, really. What else can you do? Right? Maybe it's going out on a run, right? Is it the endorphins that you're looking for? Or is it like getting into a bathtub because you need to relax? So investigating, why is really important. And then having, there's a lot of card decks of like how to relax, for lack of a better word. I can't think of restful card decks. And you could pull a card every day, mm-hmm. do a little activity, read tarot cards, read a book, call a girlfriend, write a letter. There's so many things that you can do instead of picking up that glass of wine to relax. And I'm air quoting.
Yeah, it's true. Again, it's a practice, friends. That is for sure. And it is that language, how do I take the edge off? How do I find that release? And I mean, I get it. I totally get it. But there is so many other things, but it does take time. Going back to that, it's not quick. It is a definite practice.
And sometimes it's having a really good girlfriend that you can just call and just say, hey, I just need to talk right now. And let's have a date every day at 5:00. That can change the entire day. Or you're a meeting person, making sure that you have a meeting that you're engaged in, 6:00 at night, taking care of your recovery. Yeah. Scheduling in time for what I call connection.
Yeah.
Because that's really what's missing is the connection.
It's key to yourself and to others. It's definitely key. I think that I've talked to you about everything that I wanted to talk about. What I really want to find out what you do as a mindfulness-based stress reduction coach. And then you also do so many other things, it seems like. Tell us what your offers are.
So the biggest thing that I have is the Connect to Calm Life course that I do. And it's DIY. It's an experiential 8-week course where a woman can get in there and I'm talking her through how to become a more mindful person. But it's even deeper than that. It's like, how do you get through what we've been talking about? How do you get through all the good moments, the hard moments, the challenging moments, all of it? So that's a big part of the coursework that I do. I also look at DNA work. And as we mature, we can change the way that we mature. And what I mean by that is that when you look at your DNA, you can find out how to move forward with making changes, lifestyle changes that will support your aging DNA. We are moving forward and supporting the DNA so it doesn't age as rapid. Then there's also things in the DNA that you can find out about. So you can find out about Alzheimer's, you can find out about any kind of cancers, you can find out about diabetes, or how to support somebody who has a genetic predisposition that could go sideways, as we mature and as we're not maybe taking the best care of ourselves. Those SNPs or genes, they will turn the lights off. And when the lights go off, there's a reaction. And you might not want that reaction. So a lot of the work that I do is looking at a woman's DNA and creating a lifestyle kind of protocol on supporting her profile. And I love doing that work.
So interesting.
Yeah, that's, that and the mindfulness hand in hand. It's like I create a whole new person.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. It's just, it's a completely fresh start. And it does sound like
it is.
Yeah. You're completely changing the future.
Yeah.
Of a grown ass woman or
yes.
If you were,
yes.
Right. Yes.
Yes.
I think I'm going to start using that even more than I already do. Oh, that is fantastic. When did you get into DNA coaching?
About 4 or 5 years ago, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. So I was an early biohacker. I was always early adapter. I've been, biohacking for about 26, 27 years. I always had some health stuff going on and nobody really knew what was wrong with me. They, early on did blood work and we don't know what's going on. Autoimmune deficiency syndrome, but they didn't have like celiac, right? They didn't have all the diagnosis autoimmune syndromes that they have today. Mm-hmm. So I was just put in this category over here on the side, and you're going to have to figure this out. And so, 27 years later, I've kind of figured it out and been able to, my hair's not falling out anymore. My skin's not yellow. I'm okay. So yeah, it's been quite a journey. So I've always been on that forefront of like health and what's going on and what can I test to make my blood better, my oxygen levels better, whatever better. Mm-hmm. And so I do a lot of that with my clients.
Gosh, you offer the whole package. This is so cool.
There's something about, working with a doctor is an amazing experience if you have a functional doctor. But there's a difference of having a coach, because a coach is going to spend the time and the nitty gritty, get in there. Whereas a doctor is just going to kind of tell you, the coach is going to explain it and support you. Mm-hmm. And I didn't realize that until about 4 years ago when I started doing this work and seeing. So I was working with a doctor and she would say, here's a client, go take care of them. And I would get these really complicated, complex clients. And I would have these conversations with the doctor. And then I would have to go talk to the client and kind of dissect everything. And she would say, well, the doctor didn't tell me about that. I'm like, oh my God, no. So it's been a really great experience. And it's just another way to help support women on their journey. I love it.
Oh, I'm so happy for you. I'm so happy that you shared that as well. Of course, I'll have everything linked in the show notes. What else would you like to talk about as far as your offers? And then I don't want to miss this opportunity to ask you about your evening and morning routine, because that's one of my favorite questions. So I'm kind of going a little bit backwards, but would you like to talk about anything else? You have your podcast, your coaching. Is there anything else that you want to talk about?
I just feel that, once a woman finds mindfulness and truly understands what it's about, her life will change in profound ways. It's almost like when you put down the drink and you're like, oh my God, I can do things. Oh my God, I'm not late anymore. Oh my God. Like there's a whole thing that happens. And with mindfulness, there's the same kind of awakening that occurs. And I love that. And that is like a hidden gem that I didn't know about. I wasn't looking for that. Mm-hmm. But that's one of the things that I like to share, is that if you're interested in it, just try it, just taste it, just nibble on it. Yeah. Because it will change your life.
Yeah. I can speak from experience because I never practiced it. I mean, honestly, and I think within this past year or two, I have really been way more intentional at it, and I'm sleeping better.
Yep.
I'm not spinning out. That was huge for me. And it's been everything. And it's those little tiny moments that we have where we could just be like, oh, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm feeling. This is, what's really happening. It's helped me a lot. So take it from me. Take it from me.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Too. So do you have an evening and morning routine? And if you do, yes, I thought so.
Of course. Yeah. I've always had both. They have both waxed and waned. For my evening routine, I have a window, which is 10:10. 10:10, I have to be in bed sleeping by 10:10. If I'm not, I'm doomed. So I know this. And doom is that's not proper. But I know that I won't sleep as well. Let's just put it that way. I won't wake up the next morning.
I'm screwed. I'm screwed.
I won't wake up as rested or ready for the day, which is fine. It can be totally fine if I'm going to stay up and watch a movie with my husband or something. So I have to be in bed by 10:10 and, feeling good. Before that though, I pray. I'm my prayer at night is everything. I make sure that I am, no technology before bed. And I have this device. I wear a wearable device called the Apollo Neuro. And I put that on maybe an hour and a half before I get into bed to kind of like just lower my body tension. And then I sleep with it for 2 hours. And that has been a real game changer for my sleep. And I take a couple of supplements and I take a hormone at night. So that is my evening routine and it works. I wake up and I feel I'm yes, ready to take it on.
Love it. How many hours are you sleeping?
7 to 8. Mm. The most important is my REM, which I get about 2.5 hours of REM, and I get about 3.5 of deep. Mm-hmm. So I'm in recovery, like feeling really great. My morning routine is so important. It's the most impactful of my day. I wake up anywhere between 5 and 6 o'clock in the morning, and I get up and I go downstairs and I meditate for about an hour, sometimes an hour and a half. I have 2 Irish Wolfhounds. I meditate with one of them, sometimes 2 of them, depending on who's there. And that practice is purely meditation. There's no prayer going on there. It's all meditation. And then after that, I have a gratitude list that I keep every day. And then I'm into my kid, then I'm, Miss Mom. Yeah. And I'm like breakfast time and lunchtime and let's go. Yeah.
Easy. Oh, very, very lovely. When you meditate, Is there a particular practice that you follow? Do you use the apps, or how do you?
I have a teacher that I tune into who I love. And I have a very particular practice that I do. I use the practice of Yoga Nidra. I am a Yoga Nidra guide as well. And it's this practice that has changed my life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Lane, for being here. Do you have any final words of wisdom you want to share with the gal out there who's listening and wants to really start practicing mindfulness and maybe is working towards no longer drinking?
Yeah. Just stop. Your life will open up. Right. And it's like, we don't have to beat ourselves up. We can just stop. And that could be with anything. It's not even about the drink, right? It's not even about the half a glass of wine. That could be about, I could just stop eating Cheetos every day, or I could just stop saying negative things to myself. I could just stop, like anything. We could just stop and take a breath and then change. It can be that simple of making that decision. Like, I want to change. Okay, let's do it. And then make that change. Lori, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Lane. Thank you again for listening today. I appreciate you so much. I want to know what you're going to put into action today. All of the tips that Lane gave you to start a mindfulness practice, they're so easy. You can do it right now. Let's do it together. I'm going to focus on my breath. I'm going to be so mindful. There, you did it. Yay, you. I'm cheering for you, but go do other things too. If you want to stop drinking, what did Lane say? Make it easy. Put it down. In that moment, you can decide. And it can be that simple. It honestly can. I know it's not easy, but it can be simple. Make it simple on yourself. Check out all of Lane's offerings, and her links are in the show notes. And underneath Lane, you're going to find a link to join my email community where I send out 1 email a week. You want to make sure you get on that email community list if you are somebody, and I'm thinking you are, because you're at the end of this episode. God bless you. You're listening to me still. You are my people, and you're somebody who is really interested in maybe not sobriety, but in starting a new healthy habit for yourself and making an alcohol-free lifestyle work for you. I'm just going to say it. If you are, go join my email community, because at the beginning of December, I'm sending out a very, very special pre-sale offer to my email friends. And this is for my new group coaching program. I haven't even announced it yet, but it's coming in 2022, right in January. We're going to be able to kick off the new year with healthy habits, have fun, and meet other women who are on the same road with you. And we're going to completely disrupt what we think is going alcohol-free and sobriety. That's what I'm going to say to you. I love you so much. Go and join that email list. I'm giving you a big hug on the way out. Peace.